Hey guys, it's story time again. I'm going to read you another book from the family storybook Treasury. And this one's called The Great Donut Parade by Rebecca Bond. There's the front. Little chicken just sitting there. I wonder what that chicken's going to do. The great parade began with a donut that Billy had tied to his belt with a string. There's Billy walking with a box and a donut tied to a string and his belt. It's kind of strange, but let's see what happens. The donut brought Hen. With a cluck cluck cluck, she fancied herself a crumb of this thing. And there's Hen following the donut and eating all the crumbs that it's leaving behind. See? Chicken? And then came Cat, all quiet and slinky. Now we have Cat falling behind Hen, who's falling behind the donut and the boy, whose name I've already forgotten. I should probably figure that out. Billy, sorry. You got the cat following the hen, following Billy with his donut. And now Big Dog, with a bounce like a spring, together all racing and chasing one donut that Billy had tied to his belt with a string. There's a silly looking doggy bouncing along behind them. They all want that donut, so you still got the cat, the hen, and Billy carrying his box, dragging a donut tied to a string. Right here and right now, things really got going, for Daisy and Knickers came galloping after. That's kind of strange. But there's a little girl in her underwear chasing behind the dog, who's following the cat, who's following the hen, who's following the donut that's tied behind Billy, carrying his box. And after that, brought the rest of the cast of the play, all jumbled and tumbled with snorfles and laughter. Oh, wow. There's another group of kids, all dressed up in play clothes. The little box that one is wearing says, "Come see our play." And they're falling behind whoever that is in her underwear. Who's falling behind the dog? Who's falling behind the cat? Who's falling behind the hen? Who's following the donut tied to Billy's waist? And so followed Mabel, their Saturday sitter, and Adelaide Bede, who'd been doing her hair. There's the babysitter, and there's the hairstylist falling behind her. I hope I showed that in right order. Yeah, the babysitter and the hairstylist. Probably her friend. And a whole bunch of runners who saw all this running and figured the race they were running went there. That's just silly. See, all the runners who were running a race, they thought the parade with all its running was their race. And they're following the hairstylist, who's following the babysitter, who's following the play, the group of play artists, and who's following the girl in her underwear, who's following the dog, who's following the cat, who's following the hen, who's following the donut tied to Billy's waist, carrying a box. Now you can imagine all the confusion when somewhere on Main Street they picked up a band, all noisy and joyful and jolly and gleaming, all beaming with pleasure like this had been planned. And there's the band, who's falling behind the runners, who's falling behind the hairstylist, who's falling behind the babysitter, who's following the play artist, who's following the girl in her underwear, who's following the dog, who's following the cat, who's following the hen, who's following the donut tied to Billy's waist while he carries his box. And soon there came others, waiters and diners, porters with luggage, mailmen with mail, bricklayers, horn players, painters and masons, a heavy dirt digger, and a covey of quail. This is getting to be quite a large crowd. All those people are following and animals are following Billy with his donut tied to his belt while he's carrying a box. The firemen came with their firemen's hoses. The sign painters came with their painted signs. There was a wedding reception with roses. There was farmers full of barnyard swine. A farmer's full barnyard of swine. Oh, okay. A whole lot of pigs, basically. Here we are. We've got our firemen. We've got our sign makers. We've got our pigs. We've got all the other people. The wedding reception, that's what it is. And then there were some things you just never saw there. Cloud catchers came with their clouds they had caught. Citizens came from the pages of history. Little May Pinker brought things she had thought. Oh, wow. We have all kinds of stuff here now. We have a unicorn, we have Humpty Dumpty, we have people catching clouds. This is turning into a magical parade. And I wonder if Billy even knows he's being followed. Surely he does by now. And now the parade, led by one child, who had suddenly swollen to something so wild, whirling through town so breathlessly fast that everything shook as the parade passed. And there they are. Everyone up here, following all these creatures that started following Billy. I think I'm in the right area. Yeah, he's over here somewhere. But who's following Billy? He's still dragging that donut. You would think it would have broken up by now. Which would have been fine, the little town stood. But for the parade, it didn't look good. But when their energy couldn't be topped, right out in front, small Billy just stopped. Here we are, our parade looking shocked, and Billy just stops. The donut swings in front of him. So suddenly is it that he stopped. It was right in place. What clucking and leaping and barking and giggles, what skidding and bumping and laughing and snorts. A piled up spectacle fit for a king, a splashy display like the bursting of a spring. Look at all that, all the people falling and slipping and just bumping into each other like crazy because of the sudden stop they were forced to make. They still look happy though. You never quite think of the marvelous things that happen when donuts are tied up with strings. And then with one glance, small Billy departed, leaving behind his great gala he'd started. They turned it into a party, everyone still having fun. They had so much energy to burn, they just couldn't quite stand the leave, I suppose. He slipped down a path to a spot in the shade, to a place of pure cool and tallest trees made. And there's Billy walking through the trees, where it's nice and cool. I wonder what he's going to do now. And all afternoon, as the bay bluely gleamed, this Billy sat still and happily dreamed. There he is. He had a little sailboat in his box. He just wanted to play in the water and eat his donut. Such a silly thing. A huge parade and a great big party started because one little boy wanted to play with his boat. And while eating a crisp and delicious fried ring, the donut he tied to his belt with a string. There he is. And look, he even shared with the chicken that started following him. If it hadn't been for that chicken, who knows if anybody would have followed him. You never know what will happen with such a simple act. But that's the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed it. Be good, always be kind, and I'll see you next time.